Great. So yeah, so this afternoon for the meditation slot, I thought it would be kind of fitting to do a metta bhavana. Um, there's a bit from Bantu that I've found really personally quite helpful when he's talking about the Bodhisattva ideal. I don't know if you've noticed, but at Tibetan we tend to call our retreat the Bodhisattva path these days because Bodhisattva ideal can sound quite, well, a bit distant sometimes. And I think that image of a path suggests something more of what Chandra Prabha was suggesting in her talk, that the important bit is to take a next step rather than having too much of a sense of it being a long way away. Anyway, Bantu says, so I've certainly found this in the Essential Sangharakshita. Sangharakshita says, there is in fact only one need of one's own that has to be fulfilled before one can preoccupy oneself effectively with the needs of others. And it is not a physical or material need, but simply a matter of emotional positivity and security. We need to appreciate our own worth and feel that it is appreciated by others, to love ourselves and to feel that we are loved by others. There's quite a strong statement for me personally anyway. He's saying that before we can really preoccupy ourselves with other people's needs and in other words, step into helping save all beings, we need to have a sense of our own emotional positivity and security, appreciate our own worth, feel that it's appreciated by others, love ourselves, and feel that we are loved by others. And I know for myself, sometimes even when people are appreciating me and saying nice things about me, I can still find it quite hard to really love myself. And actually, that can affect how I relate to other people at quite subtle and quite significant levels. So I thought we could do a metta bhavana this afternoon as a way of just sort of approaching this particular aspect of our practice. And I want to drop in the words of the positive precepts into our metta bhavana practice. So this is a metta bhavana practice that we quite often do on the ethics retreat at Tibetan. And I think it was first introduced by somebody from Sheffield, via Vajrasakhi, in fact. But we call it the ethics metta bhavana, but that makes it sound like you have to be very ethical, which is not quite the point. It's dropping in the positive precepts in order to give us what I find is a very practical sense of what metta might feel like, both to receive and to give. So I do this by using the words of the positive precept. So they go, with deeds of loving kindness, I cherish myself. With open-handed generosity, I cherish myself. With stillness, simplicity, and contentment, I cherish myself. With truthful communication, I cherish myself. With mindfulness, clear and radiant, I cherish myself. That's what I'll drop into the first stage of our metta bhavana. And then as we move into the other stages, as usual with a friend, a stranger, a difficult person, and then opening out to all beings, we use those same words, but we say, I cherish you. So with deeds of loving kindness, I cherish you. So I think there's something about just letting the very positive aspects of the positive precepts sort of resonate in our heads as we in our hearts as we start to let ourselves open up to metta bhavana, to the metta practice, that actually brings it home. Well, certainly for me anyway, it brings it home kind of what metta actually looks like, what it feels like, and it has this quality of cherishing. So it's important to remember that in this practice, we are trying to bring an attitude of metta to whatever is present, whatever arises, whatever emerges as we sit. So as we let these words of cherishing reach into us, just really be aware of what comes out for you. And, there might be mental states like, irritability or sadness. And we might feel that these are feelings that we're not supposed to have, and certainly not in a metta bhavana. And certainly I can find myself slightly unconsciously trying to get rid of those aspects of my mental states. And I even start to criticize myself sometimes for having those feelings. For some strange reason, which I can't entirely understand, it feels like self criticism is actually a useful activity. So I don't know if anyone else has had this experience. I can imagine that by criticizing myself, I'm somehow going to improve the situation. Actually, it really, really doesn't improve anything. This is my opinion after 62 years of living with it, possibly a bit less. But it's as if unless I criticize myself ongoingly, I'll somehow slide inexorably downhill into a terrible place where I'm really bad, really unlovable. But actually, self-criticism is really counterproductive and not a helpful way of opening up to the metta bhavana. So we're aiming to bring metta to all of those feelings, whether it's sharp feelings of irritability or deep rumbling sadness feelings, whatever we become aware of. And then we also bring metta to all the critical thoughts that we might add on top. So we have to really embrace our critical thinking, critical attacks on ourselves. We have to embrace that part of ourselves with metta as well. Finding a quality of kindness that will reach out to everything that's going on, reaching out to everything that's going on, everything that's emerging, turning towards every thought, every feeling that arises. And as we're able to turn towards those thoughts and feelings, we actually free them up. It's a bit like I sort of imagine that by putting attention on it, it'll become bigger or more unpleasant or something. Well, it might actually become more tender, more sensitive. It's true. But it's important to bring love, bring kindness to each of those feelings. And if we can bring kindness, they do free, they do self-liberate and leave us with a clear and open and loving heart that no longer feels so separate, so distinct from the rest of the world, or even from aspects of myself that I don't like. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. Sorry about talking a lot. So if having words dropped into your metta bhavana is difficult, feel free to switch off the sound. Otherwise, I'll drop in a few of these words into the first couple of stages, and then I'll leave the stages free for you to experiment with and use what words are helpful and ignore it if that's easier for you, if that's better for you. And just to say, I've got this slightly funny little bell. Because I've recently moved house, I haven't actually got myself a proper bell yet. So that's my bell. Hopefully you can hear it. Good. Okay, so getting yourself comfortable to meditate. This is a 45-minute period of the metta bhavana. Cherishing metta bhavana. Just bringing awareness into your body. Allowing your awareness to settle and arrive in your body, in your heart. It's as if your mind can settle in your body in the same way that your body is settled on your cushions. And noticing any areas of tension, and just gently releasing, relaxing. Any tension in your face, around your jawline and your eyes. Relaxing your shoulders, your arms, letting your hands be soft. And letting the weight of your body just drop down into the earth. And in your own time, just bringing an attitude of metta to yourself. An attitude of metta to whatever is going on at this moment now. With deeds of loving kindness, I cherish myself. With open-handed generosity, I cherish myself. With stillness, simplicity, and contentment, I cherish myself. With truthful communication, I cherish myself. With mindfulness, clear and radiant, I cherish myself. And when you're ready, bringing a sense of a good friend into this field of heart metta that you're generating. With deeds of loving kindness, I cherish you. With open-handed generosity, I cherish you. With stillness, simplicity, and contentment, I cherish you. With truthful communication, I cherish you. With mindfulness clear and radiant, I cherish you. So just noticing if any feelings of difficulty arise around your friendship, around your connection with your friend, just to bring kindness to those feelings, any thoughts or emotions. Welcome them in. And when you're ready, moving on to a stranger. With deeds of loving kindness, I cherish you. With open-handed generosity, I cherish you. With stillness, simplicity, and contentment, I cherish you. With truthful communication, I cherish you. With mindfulness, clear and radiant, I cherish you. Thinking of a stranger can bring up all sorts of reactions. Might be indifference or boredom, maybe envy or distrust. And turn towards all the reactions that come with a sense of cherishing. And bringing to mind someone whom we find difficult for some reason. Gently turning your mind toward a difficult person. With open-handed generosity, I cherish you. With stillness, simplicity, and contentment, I cherish you. So you could bring an attitude of interest to what happens when you bring in a difficult person. Is there a sense of critical frustration or resentment or just plain dislike? We find those feelings coming up. You need to really rejoice in being aware enough to spot them. And really noticing any second arrows we might be bringing into the situation. Try and find a compassionate recognition of that aspect of ourselves. Here is the part of me that feels aversion to this aspect of the world. And can I bring a sense of cherishing to whatever's going on? And gently moving into the fifth stage, the sense of all of your people, yourself, friend, your stranger, difficult person. A sense of cherishing all of them. And then dropping all the boundaries, dropping all the edges, letting that sense of cherishing just radiate in all directions of space. So gently coming back to a sense of your body, your presence in your room, and giving yourself a minute to dedicate any merits you'd like to dedicate.